I decided to go on to graduate school, and I had a partial student loan for graduate school. And then I got my first big time job, and then I bought a car and I moved into my own apartment. So just living life. But what I realized is that I started to rack up debt. So, back in the day, you'd go into a store and there would be a table right outside the store in the mall, and they'd have like little tchotchke, they'd have little water jugs or cups, and they'd say, "Hey, why don't you come and sign up for a credit card and you'll get this cute little gift?" And before I knew it, 14 credit cards, tens of thousands of dollars racked up in debt. I was earning good money, but I was spending a lot of money. I was totally in debt, and I didn't know why. And here's the funny part, Marlon. I had a master's degree, right? A master's degree, and did not understand cash flow, did not understand the methodology. And so I was scared. I thought, I cannot be pinching pennies for the next 20, 30 years. This is not the way I want to live. And that began a journey of exploration.
Welcome, Kicking Ass and Taking Name, the Business Owners Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Marlon Griffith Esquire. Join us on this podcast journey as we help you break free from the grind and get your business to work for you. We will delve into impactful conversations with business owners, corporate leaders, professional service providers, and industry innovators that will provide you with insights and actionable strategies that will transform your entrepreneurial path, boost your success, and put you in control of your business journey, so you can kick ass and take names.
Many of you know this situation or may face this situation. That no matter how much money you make, you still find yourself living paycheck to paycheck. I believe that there's a correlation between how a business owner runs his personal finances and how he runs his company's finances. So my guest today, Evangeline Harris, is a financial coach. And we're going to get into how we can help you better run your personal finances, but ultimately will help you better run your business finances. Welcome, Evangeline.
Thank you so much, Marlon. So happy to be here.
So tell us, who are you?
Well, again, my name is Evangeline Harris. I am the proud owner of Growing Your Personal Wealth. It is a business that I started maybe about 5 years ago after many experiences, and it's a passion project of mine. It is my hope and my aim to help people, especially people in our community, Black and Brown people, really learn how to optimize their income and hold on and keep more of their income, because we don't put as much value on income as we do on assets, but the income is our greatest wealth building tool. It is the tool that would allow us to grow assets further and also to grow our estates. And once we focus on the income, I believe that we can grow a lot more wealth in our Black and Brown communities.
So now you are a financial coach and not a financial advisor.
That is correct.
What is the difference between the two?
I'm glad that you asked. Here at Growing Your Personal Wealth, we look at money in 3 ways. We look at money as income, money that's coming in from your paychecks. We look at money as assets, money that you make from your investments, and money as the estate. It is the accumulation of your income and your assets, and it is the money that you pass on to the next generation. So you need a resource in each of those categories to help you as you achieve your life's goal. So let's start with the assets, which is that middle frame. A certified financial planner, a wealth manager, helps you to grow your assets. They ensure that you have your stocks and your bonds, your retirement funds. So you definitely need to be working with a certified financial planner in that category. Let's look at the last category, your estate. You want to be working with an estate planning attorney to ensure you have your wills and your trusts, all of the financial documents and the estate documents that you need to pass your wealth on to your children, to your grandchildren. So that's two of the three boxes. But remember, we talked about wealth being income, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the monies that are coming into the coffers, your
Mm-hmm.
paychecks, your disability checks, your child support checks. You work with a financial coach in order to optimize that income as it's coming in. If you don't, if you are not paying attention to the money that's coming in, guess what happens, Marlon?
Tell me.
It disappears. Have you ever heard the term disposable income?
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that happens when you're not paying attention to the money that's coming in. And the challenge that high income earners face, because they are a specific target audience of mine, is that because we have large income coming in, large paychecks, we tend to disregard those paychecks a lot more because the next
Wow.
paycheck is coming in. So my goal is to really help people become alerted to the fact that that wealth is coming into their hands, and they want to make sure they're keeping as much as they possibly can.
Because when you say people, particularly high income earners, are not really aware of the wealth that's coming in, can we kind of flip that around just a little bit? Is it also possible is they're not quite aware of the money that's going out?
Now we're getting down into the methodology, right?
All right, so hold on now. We got okay. We gotta wait. We gotta wait there. We gotta wait there, right? We gotta get into the methodology. That's right. Um, but before we get there, right? You said this was a passion project of yours, and tell us how did you arrive at this point in your life where you decided to open a business, have a business, teaching individuals financial coaching?
Yeah, this story is probably the story that is pretty common among my peers. I started off broke.
Mm,
I went to college, had a full scholarship, but then I decided to go on to graduate school, and I had a partial student loan for graduate school, and then I got my first big time job, and then I bought a car and I moved into my own apartment, right? So just living life. But
mhm,
what I realized is that I started to rack up debt. So, back in the day, you'd go into a store and there would be a table right outside the store in the mall. And they'd have like little tchotchke, it'd have little water jugs or cups. And they'd say, "Hey, why don't you come and sign up for a credit card and you'll get this cute
yes.
little gift?" And
Mhm,
so it became a running joke. Let's see if we could go to the next store and get a nice little gift. And before I knew it, 14 credit cards, tens of thousands of dollars racked up in debt. I was earning good money at the start of my career. I worked for one of the Fortune 500 companies as a strategic business consultant. So I was making good money, but I was spending a lot of money. I was totally in debt, and I didn't know why. And here's the funny part, Marlon. I had a master's degree,
mm, mm,
right? A
yeah.
master's degree, and did not understand cash flow, did not understand the methodology. And so I was scared. I thought, I cannot be pinching pennies for the next 20, 30 years. This is not the way I
Right.
wanted to live. And that began a journey of exploration.
Sure.
It started
Sure.
with this one quick concept about how interest works. Now, I knew interest was good because I had savings account, but I did not realize interest was bad when it was debt.
Mm,
And so uh, I did I spent an entire 4 or 5 years just learning, taking classes, reading books, listening to radio shows at the time, and was able to get myself out of debt. I got my family out of debt. I got my friends out of debt. And I realized this is something that I want to do and share, because if it was happening to me, it was probably happening to others.
Correct. 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 So your journey started because of your own personal experience, and then just your why is, you want to help others get out of where you've been,
Yes.
because the mental anguish and stress that it brings you when no matter how much you make, you just can't seem to move. You can't get out of where you are, and you find yourself continue to have to take out more and do more and do more.
That is correct.
Right. Okay. And is that why you became a financial coach?
So yes, eventually my path kind of meandered a little bit. Once I got out of debt, I set up and established community networking group with Black women. Black women, we were all
Okay.
at the height of our professional careers, many consultants, architects, and we all got together as a group and decided that we were going to learn together. So
Mm,
that journey that I started on my own ultimately became a partnership,
community.
because
Mhm.
I don't know about you, Marlon, but in our communities, we don't really talk about money. We don't talk about money. We didn't talk about money with our family. We didn't learn about money with our parents. Money is the thing that we don't talk about with our girlfriends, with our community groups. And so we got together and we had to decide that we were going to share. We're going to share our income. We're going to share our debt levels. We are going to share our goals, and we're going to be vulnerable. And
Yes.
it became revolutionary. That was back in
Wow.
2013. And today, almost all of us are living debt free because of that one experience. So it was the establishment
So
of the Lady
it's
Moguls.
because you took the step to have that experience. That was a decision right there, to take the step. And I guess what you're saying is you realize that a community of like-minded people with similar goals was way better than just solo,
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
right?
You don't feel as if you're alone, and you don't feel as if you're the only one it's happening to.
Sure.
And the amount of support and encouragement that you get from your friends, from your peers, there's something that activates you, you
Sure.
know? And that
Hmm.
activation leads to the accomplishments of the things that you set out to do. And that's
Sure.
exactly how we leveraged each other. And so that was the
Leverage.
beginning.
Le-
Yes.
like it. That's a word. That's a good word in business
It
and in
is. And
life, right? Leverage, and you
leverage means a
leverage
lot.
each other. Yeah,
Absolutely. And leverage means something very important in business and in finance too. So it's a very
absolutely,
important word. And so after Lady
absolutely.
Moguls, what I decided to do was to take that out of my comfort zone, out of my network, and take it to people that I did not know. So I curated a course, a personal finance course, and took it to the
Mhm.
county. And I started to
This is
teach
Prince George's County,
Fairfax
Fairfax County. Yes, this is in Northern Virginia.
in Northern Virginia. And I started
Okay.
to teach a course on personal finances for several years in the Fairfax Public Schools. There was a program called the Adult Continuing Education Program
Mm,
where you could go and learn anything that you wanted to learn. You could learn language, you can take business classes, technical
sure,
classes. So I decided to teach money management.
sure,
And I loved it. It helped me to really fine tune and hone the methodology.
sure.
And it helped me to be able to relate to people in the community that I don't know.
Right, right. Wow, wow.
And
Okay.
so remember, I went it alone. Then I went it with friends in my
Hmm.
community. Now I've gone to people that I don't know.
And now you're in front of the class.
And now I'm in front of the class. And I
Hmm.
love
Hmm.
And that really, all of those experiences. Oh, and finally, and probably very importantly, I decided to become a coach volunteer, a personal finance coach volunteer with a nonprofit organization in
Okay.
Fairfax called Bright Paths. And I've been with them for 10 years and love it. It is probably one of the most rewarding things that I've done. And so all of those experiences together were really the stepping stone to establish growing your personal wealth.
So that's your foundation. And
Mhm.
you have years and years of fine tuning financial coaching. So, in your estimation, who needs a financial coach, and when should and when should that person reach out?
You know, if you are lying in bed at night and your stomach is tied up in knots, you have money problems, you're stressed, financial stress. If there's conflict in your relationship with your spouse or your partner, if you guys are fighting over money, if you're looking at your paycheck and you're thinking, I make too much money to not have anything at the end of the month. If you
Mm.
looked at your savings account last year and it has not increased dramatically this year, you're at the same saving levels that you've been at for the past 2 or 3 years. It is time to seek the help of a financial coach. Right?
Many of us has been in that bed tossing and turning and praying and doing all many other things and hoping.
Absolutely. And hoping.
No.
And I what I find is that, it's not that people don't know they're ready. They know, but they don't know that there is a resource called a financial coach. So people think, if I'm having struggle with my paycheck and my income and my spending, they think that they should go to a certified financial planner or a wealth manager. And while some wealth managers would take the time to sit with you to look at your finances, most of them don't. What they're asking you is, how much can you invest? How much of your income can you put towards your securities? And you have to have that answer. But if you have not done an audit of your income, you won't know what the answer to that is, because it's not just about what you can give to your investments. It is the balance between every other expense that you're carrying that needs to inform that answer. So if you're carrying a mortgage, car note, you're carrying kids' tuition, you might be caretaking for your parents, eating out, your subscription, all of these are expenses and they all chip away at your paycheck. They all chip away at your income. I have a lot of friends who decide, oh, I'm going to buy this, particular luxury bag. And the bag, has a really high price tag. And they want to buy it because we make money. We make good money. They're like, I can afford it. But how do you know you can afford it? If you haven't assessed the cost of that bag in relation to all the other stressors on your income, you don't actually know that you can.
Evangeline, I think, one of the issues that and this major issue is just our relationship with money, people's relationship with money. And I think that sometimes people in your profession scares folks because they're afraid by going to a financial coach, what they're going to be told is, no, you can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. But I want to go to Greece. No, you can't. And they don't realize that really what you help them with is the how without going bankrupt. That you actually help empower them to really know how to better use and utilize and leverage their income
Without a
instead
doubt.
of running scared.
I cannot tell
Mhm.
you how many of my clients, when we start this conversation, they say, I hope this conversation isn't about a budget because I don't do budgets and the budgets are too restrictive. or they say, I need a quick fix. I need to earn more money. I don't want to have to reduce my spending. And the truth of the matter is that income optimization, which is our specialty, income optimization is about knowing everything that's coming in, knowing everything that's going out. Because if you see it, if you see that charted in front of you and you see what's left over, and then you understand that what's left over, if you continue with what's left over next month and the month after and the month after and the month after, and it's not helping you get to your goals, you think differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You assess differently. And so it's not Evangeline and GYPW coming and saying, you need to restrict your spending. It literally is a light bulb moment that when people start to look at their money and look and see the numbers of what remains, something happens inside of them and they start to make different decisions on their own.
Right. On their own. Right.
I am a
It's what I
vessel.
call awareness. They become aware.
It's awareness. It's
It's
alertness.
awareness,
It's consciousness, right?
consciousness,
Here's
financial consciousness.
it is consciousness. Here's
Mm-hmm.
here's the truth. The truth is if you don't pay attention to money, it goes away. It vanishes. And you could work for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in your profession. And you wake up in retirement and you look backwards and you're like, where did all my money go?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
working
I
with
know. I liken it to like when you apply for certain time credits, right? And they only ask you what's your income.
yeah,
They don't ask you what you have to spend every month. They say what's your income, and based on your income, your salary or whatever, if you're W-2, they say, oh yeah, we'll give you money, right?
yes.
And really, that's not the right question, right? Life is really about asking the right questions of yourself and of others, right? And the question that you're suggesting, the right question is, what do I have? What do I have to spend money on, or what do I have left?
And what's left?
That's and what's left. So let's get into your methodology because I jumped the gun a little bit early in this podcast, and you put me on pause. You put me on pause. You know, if anyone that I haven't really kind of figured out, Miss Evangeline, Miss Evangeline is very organized. Right? She's very organized. I mean, I've not usually had a guest who sends me the question or a roadmap of where she wants to go. But hey, first time for everything, you know?
You're
And I'm
welcome.
always willing to learn and adapt. Right? So let's get into when we talk about who needs a coach, and now let's get into what is your approach to helping people gain control of their finances.
Absolutely. When we get together, when I meet with a client, ultimately the goal is always to keep your money. Keep as much of your money as possible. And I describe what's left over because it's about charting what's coming in as income, charting what's going out as expenses, and charting what's left over. And that left over will either be surplus, which means you have positive income, you have money left over, or it's deficit. It means you've spent everything, you've spent more than you brought in, and there's nothing left over. And remember, for high income earners, remember I said this, it is feasible, and it happens all the time, that because we don't do the charting, we don't know that we are living in deficit. We don't know because the next big paycheck is coming. And so when that big paycheck comes, it's commingle and we just rinse and repeat, do it all over. But when you do your
Evangeline,
research, you can tell.
Evangeline, I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to challenge you on that. Right? I think people know.
Ah,
Oh, I think people definitely know.
okay.
I mean, they definitely know when they're living beyond their means,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But we always have hope of the next job or the next contract or the next this or this and that, or maybe this is temporary because the kids are in school right now. Maybe this is temporary because of this happened with a family member. Or maybe this is temporary because of something went wrong with the house and we had to fix this. Or maybe this is temporary. And what happens is the temporary becomes permanent. It goes from one issue to the next issue to the next issue, right? But so we might lie to ourselves or try to deceive ourselves, but we know when we laying in that bed, right? When we laying in that bed, or when we at the bar ordering a drink, we know we are over our skis. I really
And
actually think that the issue for us, Evangeline, for many people is don't know what's the first step to take, right? I think that's why you are so important. It's about really what is the first step to take to change the direction that I'm in.
abs-
Now, awareness is first.
absolutely. I agree with you. I am not even going to debate because you are 100% correct. People know it is that pit in your stomach, right? People know. So where do they start? And remember, I said that
Hmm.
they usually don't know that there is a resource like me. They don't know that there's a
Hmm.
coach who can come and
Hmm.
sit with them. And so when I work with a client, I follow what I've coined as the income optimization framework. It is a
Hmm.
5-step process that I use, and we cover each of those steps in each of our sessions. And the beginning of that is of course a conversation. I want to get to know my client. I want to know what
Sure.
are their goals, what are they trying to accomplish, short
Hmm.
term, long
Hmm.
term. And typically the number one goal if somebody's coming to meet with me is that they're either overspending or they have accumulated a lot of debt or they don't have enough money to take care of an emergency. Those are the 3 reasons why people come. So usually their very first goal is, can you help me get out of debt? And I'm happy to, because that is a big focus of mine. So we talk about goals. And then the next step is that we audit their income and spending. So I have a system that I use, a tool that I use, and we sit down and basically we chart what's coming in, what's going out, what's left over. And we do that in one session. And I got to tell you, Marlon, I believe that this is where the value is of a coach. I was working with I met a potential client. She was a business owner. She actually has about 2 businesses. And I met with her because she was intrigued. She was like, tell me, how is it that I could basically grow my wealth? But while she was talking to me, it was very evident that she was carrying a lot of debt, that she didn't know how much she was spending. And so I asked her point blank, what are your numbers? What are your numbers? How much do you need a month in order to cover all of your bills? And she didn't know
Hmm.
the answer. But she hesitated to work with me. And she said, because she believes, "Oh, I should know how to do this. I have a background in finance, I have a background in accounting. I should be able to do this myself." Do you know how long it took her to figure out what her numbers were? 3
Mm.
months.
Wow.
3 months. When I meet with my clients, we do it session number 1, 1 hour.
Mm.
I can help you find out what's coming in and going out 1 hour. And the income statement that we create, it's the baseline. It becomes the tool for how we project forward. How we project because you need to know what's happening and then you need to plan for what will come. What's coming next
Hmm.
month, what's coming the month after, what's coming the month after. And so this is the system, this is the approach. And it's funny because usually my clients are like, you mean I had a surplus of $7,000 and it's gone? Yes. The question is, what did you
Yeah,
do with the surplus? Because the income statement says that you had a big surplus. If you're not paying attention to money, it disappears.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Next step.
So once we have completed the income statement, then we do the planning for the future. Like I said, we do the B word. What's the B word? What's the B word? It is budgeting. But you know what I love about the word budgeting? It's really your operational budget. It's an operational budget, and your ability to forecast what you're bringing in and what you're spending allows you to see what's left over, what's going to be left over, and plan for it. And the surplus is where you save money, you pay off debts, you build the emergency fund. Surplus, where you save money, pay off debts, build the emergency fund. And that's the engine. That's the accelerator for any of the goals that people are trying to accomplish. I love building a 6-month budget, operating budget, a 12-month operating budget. One of my clients, when we built a 12-month operating budget for her, she realized she could save $72,000 in 12 months.
Wow.
Didn't know that was possible, but she did. I had a client when we built him a 1-year income statement, a 1-year operating budget. He realized he could pay off his student loans for $60,000. Guess what he did? Paid off the student loans for $60,000 in 1 year. When you are able to see into the future and project into the future, you can make real change.
Yes, you can. And you know what? And I'm listening to you, and we and I think as I started this podcast, I see the similarities, right, between the personal budget or the personal finance and the business, where you have to have an operational budget, and that's how you determine how you spend your money and what you do with the additional, right? Um, and of course, many of my listeners know that I'm a profit first proponent, which actually talks about how you put that money up front. You don't wait to the end and say, okay, what's left goes to profit, or what's left go away. You actually do it up front, and that's a way with the cash flow and so forth. But I want to get back to, and I don't want to give away all your secrets, because me and you and I have talked about. I've offered you some suggestions. I'll be full disclosure with my audience. You and I had a conversation. I looked at your website and things like that, and we were chatting, and that's when we decided to do this podcast. And in that call, I gave you some suggestions as how I think you can maybe better position yourself, at least from the website
Yeah, absolutely.
perspective. And one of those suggestions, if I can be very clear with my audience, when we talk, I was like, I look at your website and it doesn't say that you can save people so much money just from the first meeting, right? And you're like, well, yeah, you're right.
And
Right?
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, and we're working on it. But see, this is why I think about the uniqueness of high income earners, is that high income earners tend to spend money on so many things that half the time I don't even know they're spending the money on it. Right, and there's one of those that everyone sees this commercial. I can't where you have a commercial where it's like an app or something. The app gets you to end your subscriptions to certain things, right?
Mhm.
And how much money you save by just ending subscriptions that you don't even use,
Mhm.
but you just never went back. And this, because they charge you every month, and every month you're not really paying attention to it because you don't have a budget, you don't have an audit, and just simple things like that. And usually the more money you make, the larger those expenses are that you're not even benefiting from.
Without a
And
doubt.
actually, that's what I'm saying. I know we're actually filming this on Halloween, and I want
Yeah.
to let's remember filming this. I think it's appropriate because I need my audience to understand. Evangeline, we've been working on your name. Evangeline, you are not the boogeyman, right? You are not Jason in Friday the 13th, right?
Come from it.
No, you are actually one of the Avengers. You're here to save us. You like
Superpower.
that? But that's how I look at it, right? Is that I think a lot of times We go to people who might help us make more money. We think by making more money. And sometimes we have to start by saving, by spending less, which is akin to one's business, right? Often in one's business, you go look at businesses, we have so much outlay, so much overhead that we don't even benefit from, like no ROI at all.
You're
And I,
100%. Yeah. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
I look at the personal finance the same way. If you like Netflix and you
Hmm.
watch Netflix all the time, then you have an ROI on that investment, right? But if you also I don't pick Prime, and no one in the household uses Prime, there's no ROI on Prime. Maybe you get rid of it. That'll save you a few bucks. It's things like how one looks at it, right? How kind of one looks at one's personal finances, the same way one should look at one's business operations and business finances, right?
Absolutely.
But
And the only way
Mhm,
that you can have those insights is
mhm,
if you do the income statement
mhm,
and you do the operational budget. That's the only,
yes,
a lot of people look at their bank accounts. So they look at the bank accounts and the bank account has, several tens of thousands and like, I'm good.
mhm,
But the
mhm,
bank account is not a realistic representation of how much money you have in how much money you have because of the cash
mhm,
flow.
mhm,
And it's not a realistic representation of how much you will have tomorrow. But
yes,
when you do the income statement, when you do the budget, you are literally looking into the future. You're looking 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out.
mhm.
And now you have a holistic representation that you can trust.
All right. So I don't know. It was 5 steps. I mean, I've been so engrossed in our conversation. I'm not sure what step we're on now in your methodology, but I want to make sure you get your all 5 of your steps. I think we're on step 4.
Absolutely. So,
Okay.
so if we are creating our baseline with the income statement, and if we are projecting into next month and next 6 months, next 12 months, that's your operating budget.
Mhm.
Now, there is this thing that I like to call the spend plan because the spend plan, all of these tools are helping you get a handle on what's coming in, what's going out from a
Mhm.
different perspective. The
Mhm.
spend plan allows you to look at your expenses by paycheck. Some of us get paid once a month. Some of us get paid twice a month. Some of us get paid weekly. Some of us have
Mhm.
income that's coming in at different times of the month. And
And
so
some of us don't pay ourselves, like business owners.
now we're talking about some strategy.
Yes, but nah, not nah, sometimes that's the problem. Not how you're not if you cannot pay your business is not paying you, then you don't have a business. But I digress. You go forward.
No, and we will probably conclude with how these similarities are. But the spend plan allows us to map those expenses, those monthly expenses, to
Mhm.
the income, to the paycheck, to the income that's coming in. Why is
Mhm.
that important? It is important because it reduces volatility. A lot of people get paid twice a month. One of the paycheck is for mortgage and the two car notes, and so one of their paychecks is really tight. Money is tight in,
Sure.
in half of the month. And then the other paycheck is fuller because it's taking care of some of the household expenses.
Sure.
But they don't know, other than the big, large expenses like the mortgage and cars, they don't really know when the other bills are due. And so you can trip yourself up even during the month, even if you have a baseline, even if you have an operating budget. So we spend time creating the spend plan. It's a one time fix and forget it. And now you know when the phone bill is due, when the tuition is due, right? And then you pay those expenses using that pay, using
That
that,
paper.
that
Gotcha.
designated. Absolutely.
Nice.
The spend plan. Yeah.
Step 5.
And finally, the last process we go through is calculating your net worth. So a lot of my clients that I work with, so remember I told you that there are these three pillars. There's the income, there is the assets, and there is the estate. So everything we've talked about has to do with your income, the money that's coming in, money that's going out. Your assets is how much do you have, how much of the things that you have do you own, and how much of the things do you have do you owe to others? What you own outright, and then what you owe, credit card bills, other liabilities. So we calculate net worth for individuals so that they know what that price tag is. I like to call it, what's your price tag? If you passed away today, how much are you worth? And a lot of my clients had never been through that process. They'd never calculated their own net worth. And so we do that together, and it really just frames the entirety of the financial position for a client. And of
Right.
course, after we've done the hard work in these sessions, I am available for accountability checkups, because knowing it is half the battle, but doing it is another thing entirely. And so I have built in accountability checkups so that people can come and talk and review and get encouraged and to stay the course and stay on track until they meet these goals.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we've kind of alluded to and spoken about sometimes the parallels between the personal finance and the business finance. But I just want to give you the opportunity as you get toward the end of this podcast, to what other parallels or similarities do you see between the personal finance and the business finance?
Absolutely. So I'll say this off the bat. Off the bat, business owners, usually LLC, sole proprietor, business owners who are just starting off in their business typically don't have the historical data, historical company data, in order to qualify independently for capital loans, for capital lending. You need an infusion of cash in order to really take that business to market or develop some proprietary tool or software. And you go to the bank, and the bank says, we actually need to look at your personal credit, your personal finance in order to qualify for this loan. And a number of us, owners, because we had not been paying attention to our personal finances, because we had amassed a lot of personal debt, when the bank runs the credit score, they're like, sorry, we really cannot help you at this time. I would be a
Yeah.
really great resource for those business owners if you wanted to come through the income optimization process for your personal finances, get that cleaned up, and then be ready to go back to the lender with higher credit scores and better credit readiness. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
What are the
Okay.
parallels? The parallels are
Uh-huh.
simple. For personal finances, what's coming in, what's going out, what's left over. Shocker. What is it that businesses are also charting? Revenue coming in, expenses being paid, what's left over. What do they call what's left over? Profit. Your profit and loss statement is tantamount to the income statement that we create with individuals. So
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
methodology and the cash flow, at least that at the aggregate level, is exactly the same.
Mhm.
As an
Mhm.
individual, my goal is to save as much of my paycheck as possible. If I'm a
Mhm.
business owner, my goal is to save as much revenue as profit that I can. That is how my business is profitable.
Mhm.
We have the same types of challenges. As an individual, if I'm not tracking my income expenses, that money dissipates. As a business owner, if I don't understand the difference between my revenue, which is the contract coming in, and the profit, what's left over after all the expenses are paid, I'm going to run into problems. A lot of business owners, they are all excited. They have a $2 million contract coming in, and all they see is the dollars. I am doing well, but they have
Mm-hmm.
not taken into consideration the operating expenses, the taxes, and all the things that must be deducted first, the cost of goods sold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So knowing the income and the profit, the difference between them are critical. Tracking your expenses, critical. Tracking variable expenses, critical.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say that Profit and Loss, the Profit First book is amazing because the strategies about cash flow, making sure that you have a separate account for your operating expenses. Make sure you have a separate operating account for the income that's coming in from your revenue sources. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you have a separate account for your owner's compensation, a separate account for your taxes. These separate accounts are tantamount when I'm dealing with my clients individually.
Mm-hmm.
It's tantamount to using an envelope system, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
tantamount to having your own reserve accounts. I personally have a reserve accounts for my property taxes. So every time I get paid, I put a little money aside in my property taxes account so that twice a year when I get the bill for property taxes, guess what I don't have to do? I don't have to cash flow it. I go to
Sure.
that account, withdraw that money, pay that bill, then start it over. So
You're your own escrow.
I am my own escrow, right?
And tell my audience why are you your own escrow?
Because I
Because
pay
you
my
own
own.
your house outright.
Oh, you tell. Oh, look at you. You telling everybody. You
Because now, Evangeline is very important, right? And I bring on guests. It is very important that people are practicing what they preach,
agreed.
right? People are practicing what they preach. So that gives you, in my opinion, credibility when you're
Thank you.
sitting here telling my audience that you have an envelope for your property taxes twice a year and don't use an escrow because you own your house outright,
I do. I do.
right?
I
You
don't
know,
have any debt. Don't I tell you, this journey has been amazing. So I've
sure.
paid off the credit cards, paid off the cars, paid off the house, right? And it's been the most liberating of my lifetime. My mom is out of debt. My brothers are out of debt. My mom owns her own house. We practice as a family the things that
Hmm.
I'm preaching in the
Sure.
business. I believe it deeply,
Absolutely.
and I hope that that's translating to those in our audiences who are
Oh,
listening.
no doubt, no doubt. All right, so we have come to that point because you're not going to be surprised because you said you watched a few, particularly of my prior episode, particularly on financial literacy and financial related um, um, issues or subjects. So here we are. The three pieces of advice you would give my audience. What would they be?
I think the first advice that I would give is if you find yourself in this situation, strapped for cash, heavily indebted, worried about your ability to face that next big, large expense because you don't have the money outright, I would say that you are not alone.
Mm,
You're not alone. But hear this and know this. This does not have to be your reality forever. It doesn't have to be your reality tomorrow. Most of my clients pay off one major source of expense in 1 month. Many of them make a big dent or pay off all of their debts in 6 months. I have a 1 year challenge. Can you get financially free, debt free in a year? That is the challenge for my business. And we're going to do everything in order to help support you to get that way. So you're not
gosh.
alone. It is possible. Advice number 2, don't wait. You have already waited. My clients go, I'm going to save up money to come and work with you. And I don't see them for a year. I don't see them for 2 years. or they use the money and they go, I don't know, on vacation, or,
To Greece.
they to Greece. They're not making that investment in themselves.
Investment
Make
in
the
themselves.
investment in your financial freedom and your sanity. For the price of, a water bill, for the price of, uh, you know, a nice bag, you too can have financial freedom.
It's
And
priceless, Evangeline.
it's
It's
priceless.
priceless.
It is priceless.
Financial
And
freedom is priceless.
it is priceless.
Preach
And then,
it.
and then the third is that don't forget your family. I cannot tell you how many people that I've worked with and they have reaped the benefits, but they struggle to have a conversation with their brother or their sister or their mom. They're like, no, again, like money conversations are too private, too secret. No,
Yeah.
talk to each other. Can you get your entire family out of debt? What implication would that have for your generational wealth in the family?
Yeah.
So pay it forward. Start with the people you know, and then pay it forward to the people you don't.
So, Evangeline, I'm gonna add number 4 from
Please.
the host, right? And it's a quote that I've used often. Where you are today does not define who you are. And it's that mental part of this, right? That you might be feeling ashamed or overwhelmed because you're saying to yourself, how the hell did I get in this position? With my degrees and my position and my nice car that I drive and the nice house that I live in and that great school that my kids go to. How the hell did I get in this position? And you feel so embarrassed. And you have to get past that mental block and that feeling of shame and seek out someone like yourself for help, because you help them get on that road to financial freedom. And the first step to getting on the road to financial freedom is taking the first step.
Without a doubt. And
Just take the step. You don't have to keep living this way. Just take the step,
agreed.
right?
Agreed.
Evangeline, we did it.
Finally, Marlon.
We did it, right? I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna put on my Michael Jackson Thriller stuff because it's Halloween
It's
and see what I
Halloween.
can do.
Well, you
I
enjoy.
love it. Thank you
It's a
so much.
pleasure.
And
A
you take
pleasure.
care.
You do the
All right.
same.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Kicking Ass and Taking Names, a business owner empowerment podcast. Remember, information is only as good as its application. So start making transformational changes to your business and life today. If you like the show, follow wherever you get your podcast. And if you are enjoying this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment letting us know what you think and what you want me to talk about in a future episode. If your business needs a legal partner, contact us at www.glgdc.com. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time.